I wanted to talk to you guys about insider ball knowledge and algorithms. I think it's really important to talk about, at least for me. Yeah, guys, it's tea time. It's tea time. I was debating about whether or not I should talk about this at all. It might be a little bit controversial, but I don't care. I think I'm gonna say something about it. Back in the day, about a year ago, I was doing a lot of multi-streaming on TikTok, okay? It was really easy for me to go into just chatting segments where I'd hold up a popsicle and look like I'm like swimming in the water, and I'd do my just chatting segments and I'd get 1,000 people, 1,200 people, 1,400 people, 1,600 people. And I'd be just doing just chatting segments, talking to people. Several other VTubers, also utilize TikTok and they'll do just chatting segments and stuff like that. But I noticed that when we were doing our Assassin's Creed Black Flag stream, that I was getting pinged for being unoriginal content. It didn't make sense to me. I tried doing a just chatting stream, no game. I changed my model. I thought, is it my model? Like, is it too sexual? Like, what is it? So I changed my model. Again, every 5 minutes, the TikTok algorithm would come over and say, this is unoriginal content. We are suppressing your stream. And so I played around with it. I experimented, and we turned off the stream, turned it back on, turned the stream off, turned it back on. And every 5 minutes, their algorithm would basically come in to moderate the stream to see whether or not they should push it to more viewership. Because I would be hitting 100 viewers, and then the TikTok system would be like, stop right there. We're not feeding you anybody else because this is unoriginal content. And I was like, why? That doesn't make any sense. I think it thinks that I'm AI. Why do I think that? Why would that be a factor? Recently, for a lot of React VTubers, all of our algorithms have been crap lately. But it's like, why? Why is it that TikTok believes that we are AI? It didn't make a lot of sense to me. And so I was scrolling. Sens is another VTuber, and he's been on TikTok forever, and he got nerfed. But I noticed that recently he tried a flush tubing just chatting stream, and then bam, he was able to get 200, 300 CCV on TikTok. CCV being like the people that were coming to stream to see his stream. And it's like, oh my gosh, TikTok really is suppressing VTubing specifically. Again, why? I wanted to talk about what is happening in the VTuber space at the minute. I'm not trying to gatekeep when I say this, but let's stop and watch the video for a little bit. So this is Leaflet. She's another VTuber, and she is working on a AI-made VTuber model, and she's also working on an RPG game using an AI system.
Hey guys, Leaf here. I have an update. I was working on the project for a little bit today. The big things are, there are a couple new features I added. One of them was a little bit of smoothing, animation smoothing, so it pops a little bit now. It has a little intentional jump that makes the animation switches feel a little bit more intentional, and I think it helps a little bit. And I also added a little bit of voice detection. I changed how it detects so that it doesn't just cut out right away when you're speaking, because when people speak, they usually talk in bursts, at least I do. Some people also do that. It doesn't just automatically cut off if you wait a couple milliseconds between your next word. And then some other things I did was a little bit of smoothing for the emotions. So there's a little bit of changes there when going between emotions and stuff like that. Another thing I added was I added randomization. So now you can have multiple lead-in emotes and multiple outro emotes, so that you can run a random emote system where, say you wanted to, here in this case, I'll transmute my gun. Switching back to the original state and switching into the gun state can have a random animation. So here's an outro. She drops the gun. So drops the gun and then transmute another one. And it's random, so it could play the same one multiple times, but here's another one. See, it plays a completely different one.
No wonder TikTok believes that 3D avatars and 2D avatars used in 2D are AI, because this is becoming more and more common. The ability that AI has to do this is incredible. And I don't say that to support AI, but it is incredible the ability it has to transform these 2D characters into something more animated and moving. But this is why TikTok is saying, oh, 2D VTubers are AI, because this is more and more accessible. This is not a bash on anyone, okay? This is not what I'm trying to say. I am not trying to bash AI. I'm not trying to bash Leaflet. I'm not trying to say any of that. I like supporting people. But I wanted to explain what's going on in the space for people that I suppose would be like wondering, why am I not taking off? Why is it that I am live streaming on TikTok or YouTube Shorts and I'm not getting audience? Is it because I suck? Or like, why am I not growing? It's because TikTok and YouTube at the moment, the current culture is AI bad. Because what they want to prevent is slop content becoming super regular. But like, even then on TikTok, slop content is becoming more and more regular for AI. AI content just, no matter what, it exists. Shorts are constantly being fed. Have you seen like the AI series compilation stuff where it's like, I was reborn and now I have a second chance at life? AI does make content creation more accessible, especially if you can't afford it. However, the current meta not only suppresses AI, but it's also suppressing VTubers in general. It's lumping 2D VTubers into the AI slop category. And that's why this is so topical right now. Because there are so many people who are trying to grow, and basically by having this content more available, having it so much more easily accessible basically takes everyone and throws them into a sinking ship unless you have a pre-existing platform. Unless you've already built and cultivated your audience where you're more recognizable. It's like the rich stay rich. Does that make sense? I think this is really cool. Like, I won't lie, this is really cool. However, I still do believe that if you choose to go the AI route, artists who make a living doing art suffer because AI is so much more easily accessible. So for a lot of artists, because, VTubing was started with the foundation of artists.
Mama will always love you.
Will not work with people who support AI. So, like, yeah, it's not a bash on whether, you use it or not, but it is an explanation of why, artists, abhor AI. And it's one of those things where, a lot of artists will probably be out of jobs. And that's just the reality of it. And people are going to be bitter because of it. So the world of streaming in general changes immensely because of AI. And I do wonder where that will lead in streaming and VTubing, content creation, etc. long term. Because right now, the meta is, like I said, AI bad. But in 5-10 years, are people going to be saying the same thing? And why will they be saying differently or the same? It's very thought-provoking. And so this is just something that I've been thinking about lately, especially as I, jumped on to do a stream for like the first time in almost like a year on TikTok. I just think it's interesting that like so far over the past, I don't know how long it's been. I think it's the past couple of months where YouTube and TikTok has cracked down on VTubing. Even if you are modestly dressed, it's been flagging creators that make content as AI, and it suppresses and it prevents VTubing from being more widely spread. And I think that that's probably one of my frustrations as a VTuber, because I got into content creation hoping to be more anonymous, and it's because I have kiddos and stuff like that. But eventually I would like to get to the point where I do more IRL content creation. But not everyone has that luxury. I do care enough about my anonymity that, I want to keep my kids safe, and it's a hard balance. That's why I appreciate VTubing. I will say that I find it disappointing if VTubing overall was suppressed. AI is going to be more prevalent and crazier and more impressive than ever. Like I said, this when she starts transmuting her gun, it is so impressive. Things like this are only going to become more prevalent. It just makes me curious of how this will transform content and how it affects VTubers in the future and how it affects artists, because I do care about that. I care about VTubing culture and I care about artists and their livelihoods. That matters to me a lot. Editing and people editing, and that's another thing too. Editors I think are one of those people that are under-respected. I think content creators owe a lot to editors, and even on the editing side, there are so many AI programs and softwares out there that are trying to create clippable moments to put out there for content. And yeah, it does make it cheaper for people that are creating content to use, but it also puts editors out of jobs too. So I mean, it's one of those things too. You know, programs and everything else is becoming more advanced to make those jobs, you know, formerly that were used in a more human capacity, out of business. And I mean, you know, times change, things become more irrelevant and everything. And I do think that, you know, the art community, you know, deserves a lot of respect. I do think that this isn't something that's being talked about enough right now, how AI impacts the algorithm, like I said, on TikTok and YouTube, and what it's doing to VTubing overall. But yeah, no, this is so topical right now, how AI affects VTubing overall in the algorithm, because right now it's killing VTubers. And so many people that are trying to break out of the box from 5 viewers to 30 viewers. The thing that AI does for VTubing, because currently the tracking, you know, it's choppy here and there, but it's only getting better.
Sweetest little cutie pie.
It's only getting better. And so the truth is that you make this more commonly used, and so many people start getting into VTubing. But you make something like this so easily accessible, it's hard to differentiate this between, you know, 2D VTubing and stuff like that. And then you get thousands of people flooding an already niche space, and you get people complaining, well, why do I only have 5 to 10 viewers? And I do think that it takes a lot of soul away from VTubing. But is it creative? Oh, it absolutely can be, and it's going to be only more and more creative. If you want to do this with 2D art, something like this, to animate it and rig it, that's an extra $1,000 to add to your VTuber model. And that's one singular animation. Just think about the way that that's impacting things like our cartoons and stuff too. It's interesting. People, you know, talk about, well, what happened to Disney back when Disney was really good and, you know, people were hand drawing things. And then all of a sudden they moved to a different art style because it's faster, it's easier to pump out those videos, those movies, and the artistic form is lost. At the moment, my personal belief is that the current AI models and things being made cheapen the art of 2D VTubing. Not in the sense that it's going to be cheaper to buy art, because I don't think that we should praise the idea that, oh, this is going to bring down the cost of 2D VTubing and 2D art, because then people will charge less and everything. Because I think that, you know, that people still, artists, quality artists, still need a means to be able to support themselves and their livelihood. But yeah, it does create an oversaturation for sure. But yeah, that's what I wanted. Again, I did not want to, this is not to berate or belittle Leaflet or anything. This is not diminishing. This is just an example. I was very impressed by this, and I saw it and I was like, this is why TikTok VTubers are being suppressed in 3D and 2D. This is why. It's because AI is just becoming more and more and more and more accessible, to the point where VTubing is seen as AI in their algorithm stuff. Oh yeah, she seems very nice, very cool, absolutely. But yeah, I just wanted to explain and kind of give my thoughts about this because I do think it's super topical.